I'd like to start off by saying I'm not really a victim, but I hate scammers, so I play with them in my spare time. A little bit about myself. I'm in my 40s, I'm a graphic designer, and I'm really great with Photoshop and other different aspects of online use of software. I go on Facebook every once in a while and on dating sites. I look for scammers with fake profiles, and sometimes I respond to their posts online and chat with them for a while just for fun. Really, it just kills time. And given that COVID-19 has completely destroyed my career at this point, I find myself online quite a bit just kind of messing with scammers. The other night, I went on Facebook and I went on to a group called Party USA Singles. It's kind of one of those stupid dating sites where you get mostly men from India looking for sex, but you do get real people and you get a whole lot of scammers. The group has millions of members, it's ridiculous, and there's no control with the admins. So, I went on it, joined, and I did a post. I said, hey, single gal divorced, looking for love. And sure enough, my inbox was flooded with a ton of men from India, a ton of men from Pakistan, a handful of people from all around the country, some perverts from the US, but then I met Ted Williams. He was my golden ticket for fun. Ted Williams was a fake profile, and I knew it was. The URL was a different name. And the photos he was using were of the Village People singer Jim Newman. I chatted with him for a while. He told me he was a Marine engineer. He was 56. He had the dead wife and he had the widow thing going for him. He said his wife died of breast cancer and he had a 4-year-old daughter. I told him right away, you're pretty old for having a young daughter. And he said, no, this was normal. And I let him know that, no, it's really not, but that's okay. He asked me if I had any kids, and I told him I had 11 kids, but I didn't know where they were at. He said, that's nice, dear, and just went on to chat with me. So I played with him. Now, on my Facebook profile, everything is locked down, and my profile photo is of some roses. I don't actually use my real photo on Facebook. He asked if I had photos of myself, and I played along with him, and I told him, oh, I do, but I only send them to trusted people. And I would have to chat with him longer before I could give him my photo. He agreed, and he understood. Then he started flooding me with photos of Jim Newman. And he even sent me a photo of Jim Newman with his partner, but he said it was him and his brother who worked together as Marine engineers. I had to laugh. He even sent me one photo of Jim Newman with a rainbow gay pride flag. And I told him, wow, is that your country's flag? I played stupid, and he said, yes, dear. I laughed. I chatted with him for a few hours, and he asked me several times if I had WhatsApp or Hangouts. I told him in my country, it's not allowed, it's against the law due to COVID-19. He said he wasn't aware of such law, and I said, oh, it just went into effect. And he said, okay, dear. He believed me. I continued chatting with him on Facebook Messenger, and finally telling him I had to go to bed. Now, I didn't block him. I left him there, and about a day and a half or so later, late one evening, I went on Facebook, and he had left me a bunch of messages. Where are you? Hello, are you there? What happened to you? Where are you? And then he sent me a ton of photos of these sports cars in this house and saying these were all his. The photo of the house was from Zillow. I found it on the website. And the cars were just Photoshop pictures of cars from different photo shoots online from Cars.com magazine. We chatted some more. I told him I was very busy cleaning my house due to COVID-19, and he understood. He asked if I was coping very well during the pandemic. I told him yes, but it's just so lonely. He responded and said he was lonely too, and he told me he was feeling very lonely and sexy. And I said, well, that's terrible to feel both lonely and sexy at the same time. He then sent me photos of Jim Newman, which were more provocative. And as you know, Jim Newman has a lot of provocative photos online. It was a picture of him in his underwear and his hand covering his private area. I told him he was the sexiest man I've ever seen, and he asked me if I would send naked photos of myself. Now, he had never actually seen my photo, so I told him absolutely. And I went online and went to a website and picked out a couple of photos of a naked woman who was, let's say, less than beautiful. I cropped her photos, did a little changing to the background so it couldn't be Googled, and sent it to him. And he said I was the most beautiful woman he'd ever seen in his life. I laughed so hard. I played with him and just laughed along with it. I finally told him I needed to go to bed. I was very tired. And we went ahead and parted ways. 2 days later, I went back online. There he was with his messages. Where are you? Where have you been? Where are you going? So finally I responded and told him I'm very busy. He said he had an issue, and I asked him what was wrong. He said he needed a $100 iTunes card as he was having trouble going out of his house to get his iTunes cards due to COVID-19. I told him, well, I'm having the same issues. And he asked me if I would go out, risk my life to get him an iTunes card. I finally thought the jig is up, and I was tired of talking to this idiot. So I told him off. I told him, no, I'm not going to get you anything. I know you're a scammer. Go away. And I quit talking to him for a few minutes. Then he came back with his grand old threat. He told me that if I didn't send him a $100 iTunes card, that he was going to release my naked photos to all of my friends on my friends list. I told him, for one, you can't see my friends list, and for two, the photos aren't even of me. He became enraged. He said, yes, they were. He knew they were me and that I was so ashamed of how I looked that he was going to send them to all my friends. I told him, go ahead, we can have a naked picture party, and encouraged him to send them to all my friends that he couldn't see. He told me he knew he could see my friends list even though he thought I couldn't. Now, like I said, I work in computer technology and graphic design. I'm pretty good with computers. No, he could not see my friends list. But I told him to please. I encouraged him to send the photos out. I even encouraged him to put them on Pornhub and let the whole world see how beautiful I was naked. He became angry and started yelling at me in another language. He then blocked me before I could block him. That's it. That's my story. I played with a scammer, and he became angry. I will say, though, since I have played with him in particular, I get tons of friend requests from weird people, so I don't advise doing it. But thanks for letting me share my funny story, and I hope it uplifted some people's spirits during this very dark time in all our lives. Thanks again. And we'd like to thank her for sharing her story. It was kind of a cute and funny story. We don't encourage baiting scammers unless you absolutely know what you're doing, but this was a little fun way for her that she turned the tables on a scammer. So thanks for sharing. We really appreciate it. Again, if you need help, you can find us on Facebook under Scamming Scammers Action, or you can email us your story at scammingscammers@gmail.com. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.